We're back with Dalton Rapattoni, part 2 of our reality check interview, and we're going to dive into, well, not really quite the voting rounds because the judges held on to their power for quite
a long time this season. Yeah.
It's like our voting hands were just sitting there idle.
Yeah. No pun intended.
I hadn't even thought of the pun.
Yeah.
You tackled Rebel Yell and really mixed that up and sort of did a slowed down, really dramatic version of it. How do you come up with something like that? Is it, do you look around online for other versions? Do these things come into your head and think, let me try that out?
Yeah, it's more the latter. With Rebel Yell, it kind of just happened. I try not to look at stuff online because then I end up mimicking, and I don't dig that. But for me, like, yeah, it just kind of happened. Like, I think I was playing it on guitar, and my wrist got tired or something, and I just slowed it down because I'm lazy.
Right.
But it worked. So.
Do you ever have like grand ideas for rearrangements that go haywire, and you're like, oh god, that sucks? Or does it usually, once you've gone down the road of it in your brain, it's already something that's fairly...
Yeah, and that kind of became more of a problem in the later rounds because we didn't have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
With Rebel Yell, I had like a month to work on that. And then with later songs, we had like 2 days of rehearsal. So it's like, there's not a lot of room for trial and error in the later rounds. And that's why I kind of stopped being able to change songs as much as I would have liked to. But with my own stuff, like if I'm doing a cover on the road, like I won't just do a straight cover. That's boring to me.
That was the same week you got to duet with Daughtry.
Yes.
I thought it was early in the season for All-Star duets.
I thought so too. Right? Like 24 people, put that on the Idols, but
and really one of your first live shows for some people that didn't have as much experience. It had to be like intimidating. You seemed like you had a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, we did Higher Ground, which is a song I already knew. So it was all cool. We were just like vibed on it, and it was a good time.
You followed up with Hey There Delilah, another big shift in tempo and tone of the song. Yeah.
With that one, I don't get to talk about this a lot, and I didn't get to at all on the show because Olivia, her thing that week was that she was sick.
Okay.
And I had the flu and a sinus infection at the same time. And then I told them that, but they were like, oh, we already filmed Olivia's package. You can't tell people you're sick this week. And I was like, okay. And I was like, that's fine.
We can only have one 6-story arc in a week?
Yes. That's actually how it was. And then I was like, all right, well, I have to tell people somehow, like, because these vocals are not going to be good. And lo and behold, they were not good. But I kind of
just happy with how that went.
No, I wasn't. I think that song for me was not the best. It's kind of just too, yay, poppy, pop, pop. So it's funny how Harry, made probably the best comment for me in the entire season on that song. Because I was on stage and he said the whole "you are batting 1,000" thing, and I was like, really? Am I? On that one? You're gonna say that?
Right.
But I appreciated everything nice that they said about me, and I think they might have been kinder on that one because they knew I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think it was an odd one for him to come out and say that.
Interesting. I thought the following week, Radioactive, I thought you seemed off.
Oh,
Were you still sick, or what was the
deal with that? I was still sick, and then also I kind of let other people tell me. It was the 1 week that I was like, all right, I'll listen to the producers and see if their ideas fit me.
Mm-hmm.
And they picked Radioactive, and I was like, all right, here's an experiment. I'll do it, see how it works, and then we'll go from there if it works. And it did not. And so
did you feel it in rehearsals or early on, or was it really more when you got on stage?
We tried. That's the thing, is that's one of the that was one of the casualties of the quick turnarounds with songs, is that we had a cool arrangement for it. I wanted to open it up with like a church organ and do like that kind of a weird churchy feel, and it didn't come out in the wash. Like it kind of just was a straight cover, and like to be honest, that kind of pissed me off a little bit because it was like I'm the one that's gonna get flack for this.
You're gonna live or die on it.
Yeah, and I don't know. that's when I kind of like stopped changing songs as much because I was scared that was going to happen again. And at that late in the competition, I can't afford to have that happen every week.
Does it get lost in translation from like rehearsal room to rehearsals to band somewhere in the middle?
Yeah. So what we do is we go in for vocal rehearsals and we tell the vocal coaches like the kind of arrangement that they want, and they write out a chart and give it to the band. Between vocal coaches and band, something got messed up.
Like, where's the organ?
Yeah, I was like, it was there, but it was like a weird kind of like poppy kind of thing, and I was like, you know what, scrap it, let's just do the original. This sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on stage with that. And then that was, it was definitely my worst week, I think.
Yeah.
I don't like talking about that one.
We'll move on to, I thought Numb and Sounds of Silence, Sounds of Silence was maybe one of your best of the season.
I like that one.
Talk a little bit about that, because you did change that song, sort of the mood of it,
Yeah.
and the feel of it.
I mean, Sound of Silence was such a good one to do that week because that was the week that they talked about my bipolar disorder and everything, and I thought it was a good parallel, after they came out of that. So for me, it was really easy to connect to that song.
Yeah.
Numb, I don't know why I got so much crap for Numb. I liked it.
Okay.
But I might not have sang it very good, but that's me. I mean, I get it kind of with Numb just because the lyrics didn't connect as well, but I liked the arrangement of it. I thought it was cool. But Sound of Silence was definitely the better one that week, and I'm glad that it was last.
Yeah.
So
Always,
that people
if there's
voted
going to
on
be.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any hesitation about talking about your bipolar disorder, or was there a push to get you to talk about it, or
No.
did you think I want to open up and?
Yeah, no, I didn't have really any hesitation about it. For me, I thought it was important because I had such a huge platform.
Yeah.
I had to talk about something that mattered. I didn't want to go through the entire season not, saying my piece.
Right.
And for me, they didn't push me to do it at all.
Okay.
And there were certain producers earlier in the competition that would be very pushy. But that wasn't one of the situations in which they made me talk about it. I don't know, I just felt like it was important because not a lot of people talk about that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that a lot of people keep bottled up.
Yeah.
Because if you can't see it, it's very easy for people to ignore it.
Right.
But yeah, I felt like, if one parent goes and gets their kid, diagnosed because of this, it was worth it.
Yeah, I think always being open about that is probably a positive. LaPortia told me that week she could hear her package playing through the space before she went on stage, and then it sort of set her into an emotional place. Yeah. Could you hear yours as well?
I
Did
could.
it affect you at all?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I'm glad it played though,
Okay.
because it kind of helped bring out the emotion of all of it. So for me, I actually watched the whole thing because there's a screen. There's a little backstage information for you. There's a screen right next to the front camera.
Okay.
So we can watch what America's seeing during our performances.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I watched my whole package and I was like, don't cry. Don't do it.
Right. You don't want to get crying before you've even gotten your first note out.
Yeah.
You followed that up with God Only Knows, and we saw you wanted to do Seven Nation Army that week. How badly did you want to do Seven Nation Army? And was God Only Knows sort of, was that a wrestling match for you creatively?
So for me, in that room with Scott and Stevie, they were, to be honest, at that point in the competition, we were all exhausted, mentally and physically. We were all very on edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was kind of one of the fights that I picked because I had kind of snapped at that point. And I wasn't in the right state of mind. So when they were like, yeah, we don't think Seven Nation Army is a good idea, I was like, well, I don't care. It's stupid that you think that it's not a good idea. But looking back, I'm like, oh, that probably wasn't the best idea. It was a cool arrangement for Seven Nation Army. But at the end of the day, I didn't really I wasn't that behind it. I think I was behind it out of principle more than anything.
Where your head was at that point in the season.
Yeah.
At what point did you make the decision? Okay, because it seemed like that was a pretty long
Yeah, it
back and
was
forth.
it was a long. It was like in real life, it was like an hour and a half. We were fighting about that. But I think that after I went home that night, I played both of them through, and I was like, God only knows is just better. So I ended up doing that. Funny thing about God only knows, my in-ears fell out halfway through.
Okay.
That part where I sat down, just out of my pocket. Yeah, and so I was like, oh well, that's cool. And on the idol stage, there's no monitors to speak of.
Okay. So
So
you're
I was just
sort of flying.
Yeah, I was flying blind for that last part. But I thought it was okay. I don't think it was as good as the package kind of like made it seem. So it was a good idea. That if I had a couple more days of rehearsal, it probably could have been way better.
I liked that week because we saw some real like mentor contestant interaction. We saw a little bit more what went into the creative process, and I liked your whole package with Sia as well.
Yeah, that was Sia Week, right?
Yeah. Tell me about that song choice, and did you know that this was going to be a flood of emotion going into that performance, or did that sneak up on you as it happened?
Well, my mom was crying in the audience, and I looked at her and I was like, "Oh God, this is gonna be bad." But for me, picking the song was actually probably the easiest part because I had never heard that song before at the beginning of the week.
It's such a good song.
Yeah, and I didn't even listen to it before I picked it. I just looked at the lyrics and I was like, "All right, that's it."
Seriously?
Yeah, and then it's so funny because like it could have been like just the worst song in the world, and I would have already had picked it. But I picked it completely based off the lyrics, and ended up working out really well for me, especially in the context. I'm glad that I was in the bottom two that week because I don't think I would have performed how I did had I been, safe. So for me, it was a perfect song to do, and I would have been proud to go out on that one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be right back with part 3. We're going to talk about Dalton's future and what you can expect in a post-idol life.